Welcome to Horror Stories, where the lines between reality and horror blur. Tonight, we dive into a chilling tale of obsession, madness, and the supernatural. Get ready for the Shattered Mirror, a descent into madness. Imagine a world where mirrors are not just reflective surfaces, but gateways to unspeakable horrors. For Dr. Emma Taylor, a psychologist with a dark past, to discovery, the Shattered Mirror sets off a chain of events that will change her life forever. Join me as we delve into Emma's terrifying journey, where the boundaries between sanity and insanity are tested, and the true horror lurks beyond the mirror. Let's start the story in the sleepy town of Ravenswood. Nestled in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, a mysterious phenomenon began to spread. Residents reported finding shattered mirrors in their homes, with no signs of forced entry or explanation. Dr. Emma Taylor, a psychologist, was intrigued by the strange occurrences. She discovered a connection between the shattered mirrors and an ancient entity known as the Reflector. This malevolent being fed on human fears, manipulating reality through reflective surfaces. Emma's investigation led her to an abandoned asylum on the outskirts of town, where she found evidence of the Reflector's presence. The entity began to stalk Emma, manipulating her reflections to torment her. As Emma delved deeper, she realized the Reflector was not just an entity, but a gateway to a dark realm. She encountered other victims, each with their own terrifying story. Emma found herself trapped in the dark realm, surrounded by shattered reflections. The Reflector revealed its true form, a labyrinthine mirror maze. Emma navigated the ever-changing maze, confronting her deepest fears. She discovered the dark realm was a realm of lost souls, trapped between worlds. Emma faced the Reflector, shattering its hold on Ravenswood, but the entity's defeat came at a terrible cost. Emma's own reflection was trapped in the dark realm. Ravenswood returned to normal, but Emma knew the Reflector's influence lingered. She became obsessed with finding a way to rescue her trapped reflection. As she gazed into the mirror, Emma saw her reflection's eyes turn black. The Reflector's whisper echoed, "You'll never be free." Emma's obsession grew. She spent every waking moment researching and experimenting. Her colleagues began to notice her decline. Dr. Lee, a fellow psychologist, confronted Emma. "You're losing yourself in this obsession. You need to stop." Emma's response sent chills down Dr. Lee's spine. "I'd rather lose myself than lose my reflection." Emma discovered an ancient text reference in a lost city where the Reflector's power originated. She became convinced that finding this city held the key to rescuing her reflection. Emma's search led her to the depths of the Amazon rainforest. She encountered strange creatures and treacherous terrain. Deep within the lost city, Emma found a hidden chamber filled with ancient artifacts. At the center stood a massive mirror. As Emma approached, the mirror shattered, revealing a portal to the dark realm. The Reflector's whisper echoed, "Welcome home." Emma navigated the ever-changing labyrinth, confronting horrors beyond her imagination. She encountered others trapped in the realm, each with their own terrifying story. Emma discovered the Reflector was not an entity, but a gateway to a realm of lost souls. The Reflector's true purpose: to trap souls, feeding on their fears. Emma found her trapped reflection. To free it, she had to make a terrible choice. Emma shattered her own sanity, merging with her reflection. Emma, now vessel for the Reflector's power, returned to Ravenswood. Her eyes turned black, and the Reflector's whisper echoed, "A new era begins." Ravenswood fell under Emma's control. The Reflector's influence spread. Dr. Lee, now trapped in the dark realm, realized Emma's descent into madness. The line between good and evil is fragile, Dr. Lee whispered, and sometimes the greatest horrors are those we create ourselves. As the darkness consumed Ravenswood, Emma's powers grew. She manipulated reflections, trapping souls in the dark realm. Dr. Lee witnessed Emma's transformation. "You were once a brilliant psychologist, Emma," Dr. Lee said, his voice laced with sorrow. "What drove you to this?" Emma's response sent shivers down Dr. Lee's spine. "I'm not Emma anymore. I'm the gateway to the dark realm." The Reflector's influence spread, engulfing nearby towns. People reported finding shattered mirrors, and the disappearances began. A group of survivors, led by a young woman named Sarah, sought to stop Emma. They discovered an ancient ritual to banish the Reflector's power, but Emma was prepared. She summoned an army of trapped souls, their reflections twisted into grotesque forms. The battle raged through Ravenswood streets. Sarah's group fought bravely, but Emma's tower seemed limitless. Just as all seemed lost, Dr. Lee escaped his prison. He confronted Emma, determined to restore her sanity. Emma, remember who you once were, Dr. Lee pleaded. Fight back against the Reflector's influence. Emma's eyes flickered with recognition. For a moment, her true self resurfaced. With newfound determination, Emma joined forces with Sarah's group. Together, they performed the ancient ritual. The Reflector's power waned, and the dark realm began to collapse. Emma's reflections, once twisted, returned to normal. But the damage was done. Ravenswood lay in ruins, and the survivors were forever changed. Emma, now freed from the Reflector's grasp, gazed upon the devastation. Tears streamed down her face. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I never meant for this to happen." Dr. Lee placed a comforting hand on Emma's shoulder. "You're not responsible, Emma. The Reflector manipulated you." Emma's eyes locked onto Dr. Lee's. "But I am responsible. I let my obsession consume me." As the survivors began rebuilding, Emma vanished into the shadows. Her whereabouts remain unknown. Some say Emma still wanders, searching for redemption. Others claim she's planning her revenge. The truth remains hidden, lost in the shattered reflections of Ravenswood. Years passed, and the legend of Emma and the Reflector faded. But in the dead of night, when mirrors seem to whisper secrets, people wonder, is Emma still out there, waiting? And when the darkness closes in, they tremble at the thought. The Reflector's influence never truly disappears. It's always waiting, patiently, for its next victim. Sarah, now a leader in the rebuilt Ravenswood, ensured the town would never forget Emma's story. A cautionary tale of obsession and the horrors that lurk beyond the mirror. But as Sarah gazed into her own reflection, she noticed something strange. A faint crack, spreading like a spider's web. The Reflector's whisper echoed in her mind. "You're next," and Sarah realized the true horror was far from over.